And we are back with another episode of the Hockey Princess podcast. I am your host, the Hockey Princess. We are back to being live because we have a lot to unpack, and also this is just really fun for me. Just as a reminder, if you are going to a game this season, please wait for the whistle. Do not get up while the puck's in play. And yes, you can chirp at people who do get up while the puck's in play because it's quite fun. If you do not want to spend $20 for some chicken tenders that don't come with fries at the United Center, highly recommend Su Taqueria El Rey del Taco over on Ogden, a couple of blocks away from the United Center. Great food, very lovely people that work there. And yes, it's winter and it's cold, but I promise it's not that horrible of a walk from the restaurant to the UC.
It is not. It is not.
It's honestly probably the closest place that you can get decent food from the United Center.
True story.
All right, Christy, we got a lot to talk about. We have a lot of things.
That's what you've been telling me. I don't quite understand it.
We got a lot to talk about.
What happened? We got backfeed.
We got backfeed. That's okay. Yeah, we have a lot to talk about, but we'll just start in the world of the NHL. First and foremost, we have one big trade between, well, not big, but like big for the team.
You don't want to talk about the fact that I got kicked out of the house?
No.
Okay.
Why did you get kicked out of the house?
Well, I'm in the garage.
Why are you in the garage?
Because I can smoke in the garage.
Nerd.
Yeah, so.
Absolutely nerd. Anyway.
Okay. Whenever we get our counter, that would be count number one.
Number one.
Of slowing down, speed bumping the show. Yep. Completely threw you off, didn't I?
Completely threw me off. It's fine. We've got a trade between the Colorado Avalanche and the San Jose Sharks this week. Not really like a big trade, but there were just a decent amount of pieces from each side for the trade. So we've got the San Jose Sharks receive Alexander Georgiev, Kovalenko, a conditional 2025 pick. I don't believe it's been disclosed what the condition is. And it's a 5th round pick for 2025 and then a 2nd round pick in 2026. Colorado Avalanche have received Mackenzie Blackwood, Giovanni Smith, and a 2027 pick. So really, San Jose and Colorado are swapping goaltenders and swapping draft picks.
Right. Now, this is the second trade that Colorado's made for old people.
Yes.
But they love their wood. They have a Wedgwood, a Blackwood, a regular wood.
There we go.
I mean, they got 3 woods.
It's like how we had like 3 Johnsons 2 seasons ago with Jack Johnson, Reese Johnson, and Tyler Johnson.
Exactly, and it sticks on the same dirty theme. That's fantastic.
All right.
If I was a meathead, I could really roll with this.
Well, thank goodness you're not.
Yeah, Colorado is in a bad way. This is what happens.
Yeah.
When you use all of your money and figure you're going to get a cheaper goaltender.
It doesn't work out.
Sometimes it does. Sometimes they had who'd they have? Brubauer or
Colorado?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who'd they win the cup with?
You're asking me things about not my team from years ago.
Yes.
I would imagine Grubauer.
Yes. They won with Grubauer and then didn't want to pay him any more money and let him go. And, Georgiev was, I believe, behind Shesterkin for a while. Yes. And playing well in a complete 1B scenario without not a lot of pressure. And they figured, he's ready. It's one of those things that there's a reason it's cheaper. It's a lot of risk. And Colorado has struggled to find a goaltender.
Yeah.
Since letting him go, they're going to try 2 other retreads. I don't think this is over. I believe they're still going to be looking for another one. I believe Blackwood they got from San Jose, right?
Yeah.
I believe he's already hurt.
Can I interest you in an Arvid Soderblom?
No, if you're them, because you know who you could have interest me into? Before they ran him into the ground because they were worried that Arvid Soderblom might get his 60 games, they would have been real interested in a Peter Mrazek. But, hey, now he's broken.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a bit. Anyway, because this is not the only big trade that we have. We have an even bigger trade coming out of a team that is right now, sorry to our friends at Double Defense, a complete dumpster fire at the moment. With trades, performance, and just general things coming out about this trade. And that is your Jacob Trouba is a duck. So now I'm just absolutely terrified for any of our younger defensemen and for Connor Bedard to play Anaheim, because Gudas and Trouba, that's a little scary. It was a big thing for those who are unfamiliar with the Trouba lore. Jacob Trouba was the captain of the New York Rangers. Not my favorite hockey player, very controversial player. Just because I think there was no in between. People either loved him, mainly New York Ranger fans, or they were not the biggest fan of him because of how he played the game. There's been, I'd say the past couple of years, maybe last year in particular, really around the trade deadline, his name's always kind of popping up. Same with Trevor Zegras. The main thing is with Jacob Trouba is he has a partial no trade clause. They tried to get him to go to Buffalo. He did not want to. His wife is in the middle of her residency right now and was like, am I incorrect?
She's done with residency.
She's done with residency.
Okay. When he got traded to the Rangers from Winnipeg, that was his big thing because he wanted her to be able to go someplace for a good residency. I believe that was 5 years ago.
Okay.
So yeah, no, she's got a job. They might have to live apart for a little while, like right. A lot of hockey players.
But I know when they were trying to send him to Buffalo, there was definitely I'm not saying yes to this because I'm not uprooting my wife right now. And a lot of people were giving him a lot of hate for it. This is probably the one instance that I don't give Jacob Trouba hate for, because I'm a big believer of if you have a no movement or a no trade clause, you should be able to exercise that right. The GM is the one that gave you that contract. They gave it to you to use it. I don't see a problem in using it and being particular and saying, yes, I'll go here. No, I won't go here. So flash forward to this past week.
You keep talking. I'm doing the whole flash.
He's getting, if you don't say yes, now there was rumors of him going to Columbus. Oh, if you don't say yes, we're going to scratch you for a game. He said, okay. If you don't say yes, we're going to put you on waivers. And even though he has a no trade clause, he could still be put on waivers and a different team could take him. It's probably the biggest douchebaggy thing the Rangers probably could have done. And it seems very New York Ranger of them.
Because they've already done it.
Yes.
They did it last year to, was it Goodrow? Not Goodrow. The one guy, he's in San Jose now. And yes. And they put him on waivers after he wouldn't accept the trade.
Yes. So then there was all of a sudden there's a trade in Anaheim. So he is now a Duck. He said it was a rite of passage to be fired by Madison Square Garden. So I think that really all tells you all that you need to know about the situation and probably how hostile that room had to have been for the past week. But yeah, he's a Duck now. The Rangers are captainless. So this either means that Chris Kreider is your captain next year, or Chris Kreider is getting traded. Yes.
No, I mean, they'd like to trade Kreider too. The whole thing is,
it's wild.
They are a shit show.
Yeah.
Because you've lost the whole locker room, and you have now all of a sudden made it very difficult to go out and get free agent talent, because they take one look at you and go, I'm not doing the way you treat players. We had talked a little bit on the last show of how you might want to treat the players come the trade deadline if you're KD. This is
a whole different issue.
It is on a whole different level. And you automatically lose the locker room because players are like, I don't care.
It's like trying to force Jonathan Taves onto a trade like 5 years ago.
Right. And I mean, Trouba's gonna at least pick a little bit. As I said, I know his wife is not in residency anymore, which means she's working for a hospital. I don't know how many good ones are in Buffalo. I'm sure Anaheim has a much better pickings for her job, but hey, at times you're not allowed to do that in hockey. But his contract, he is.
Yeah.
So that's just the way it is. It is unbelievably messy.
It's also unbelievably messy that they've traded their last 3 captains.
Yes. And I don't see how they get past it. I mean, I know how they get past it.
Yes, because we got the announcement 30 minutes later of how they're going to get past it with a Igor Shesterkin massive signing of $92 million for 8 years. That's how you get past it.
Right, but there's not enough there to get completely past it. You'll have the best goaltender in the game.
Right.
Ask Winnipeg how that works. It doesn't. You need everything to go on,
right,
and get to the finals. I thought your people that you had on Monday were phenomenal. Is it the Double D? Is that what we call it?
Double defense.
Double defense. And I didn't know that Miller was all of a sudden in everybody's doghouse. He was the rising defensive star. Adam Fox was the next defensive superstar. All of a sudden, Adam Fox can't find the score sheet. And I guess Miller just can't find anybody to defend. I don't know what they do.
Yeah.
But they are in a terrible spot. So do I
burn it to the ground?
No, if anybody needed a reminder that that's not what to do, they got it from the Chicago Blackhawks. You can't do that. The Rangers have already done that once. They came out, sent their letter to their fans saying we are going to rebuild, which they did. They traded McDonough, JT Miller. They had like 6 or 7 people. They traded away half of them. Okay. They had the guy with the long hair. They
Zuccarello?
Huh?
Zuccarello?
Not Zuccarello. They also traded him, but a little bit later. They waited for him to get the free agency. Who's the other? Zibanejad.
Yeah.
They had Zibanejad. They had Kreider. So they kept pieces. Right. If anybody has learned anything from all of this, is you can't burn it to the ground.
No, that's what got Patrick Kane fired. Is he said, we don't need to burn it to the ground because look at the Rangers. And Kyle said, all right, you like the Rangers so much, here you go.
Yeah, it's just so they won't burn it to the ground. There's not a ton they can do. They've got some good young talent. Again, I don't want to keep on harping on your episode, but they were really big on their fourth liners who I definitely enjoyed watching in that Ranger game. So they've got some talent. Lafreniere's there. But there's just not quite enough. And I don't know how you get it. They don't have a lot of other assets.
Right.
So I don't think they burn it to the ground. I think they look to move Kreider, maybe Zibanejad before the end of his contract, but those are all very difficult to do.
Yeah. It's crazy.
So enjoy the way down again, New York.
With you. All right. You got anything else in the NHL world?
What else is happening in the NHL world?
Jacob Trouba. That's what's been happening.
No, the only other thing was the stuff about the Rangers. They're looking to unload more. Still no word out of Nashville. I can't imagine how much longer they let that go. You mentioned some Torts stuff. I don't know if you want to get into that.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on in Philly. I think Tortorella has found his new person to put in the doghouse because it was the Philadelphia versus Boston game over the weekend. I believe it was Saturday. Yes, because I was watching the videos at the Winnipeg game where he didn't appreciate Tortorella really didn't like anything in that game. I think he was bashing the refs a little bit, or as much as he can, tongue-in-cheek wise, without getting fined. Saying, I teach my players not to dive, but maybe after this game, I'll start teaching them to dive. Because I believe there was a McAvoy took like a hit on Mitchkoff, like a little bit, and then is it Tippett? Somebody from Philly just absolutely clobbered the hell out of McAvoy. He had a big issue with Konecny's game, which I thought was weird because Konecny has been one of the stronger points on the Philly roster. I don't think they have much right now, but I think at least in terms of the bigger picture, he's been one of their stronger points. So I think Tortorella, either things aren't going well or things are going well. He's just not used to that. So he needs to find something to complain about, someone to go in the doghouse.
Yeah, well,
his neutral state of anger.
They're on the outside looking in. Whatchamajig, their general manager has already weighed in saying there will be no additions. We're maintaining our course. Nobody's sure what that course is, especially with Torts going nuts. The other thing you need to understand is Torts has a shelf life. He has a shelf life until too many people tune him out and just don't even listen to him. And he might be reaching that. So I don't know what they do. Again, all I hope is this goes bad enough that we get Frost.
Well, that we get Frost, and also maybe Luke can just stop collecting his unemployment checks and he's the new head coach of Philly.
Yeah, no, I think Luke will be taking the year off. So
that's fair. He deserves it. All right, let's get into our prospects because, guys, we have a lot of prospects doing a lot of things this week. Everyone's back from break. Everybody's doing a lot of things. First off, we're going to talk about a prospect that we really don't talk on like a weekly basis, mainly because I have a hard time finding his stats unless one of our favorite prospect insiders gives them to us, because I'm not the best at looking up KHL information. And that is your Roman Kanserov, who has had 13 points in 15 games this season. That's a great stat, I mean, for any player, but also for being in the KHL, because like we've said before, the KHL runs a little bit different. Same with like the Swedish professional league, Finnish professional league. It runs completely different than like the CHL, kids that are in college, kids that are in the USHL. Very different. Christy, I have a question for you.
For me?
Do you have how long Kanserov is contracted for the KHL?
I thought it was one. I thought it was one more year.
Is one more year after this?
Yes.
Okay.
But do not quote me on that.
I would really like him to come over after that 1 year. I know that's probably a part of my master plan that nobody knows what it actually is that's going on in Kyle's brain. But I think from what I have seen, the limited things that I've seen, just because the KHL isn't as easily accessible as like CHL and college highlights, he's definitely progressed since last season, and I think maybe even the rest of the season, and potentially if he continues, I'd love to see him over here.
Yeah, as you well know, the one message board that I kind of go to, they're starting to salivate over him. He's all part of the plan, and things are going to be so great. Oh my God, there's going to be unicorns, rainbows. It's going to be fantastic. I believe he's got one more year. He looks the part.
He's definitely an interesting piece.
Yes, because of their initiation, the way they feel about young players. He's going that same path of like Krill the Thrill, a Panarin. They don't peak right away because they don't get the playing time. Even if they're in the league below the K, they still don't. They're old school. They're veterans play. It's just kind of the way it is. So the fact that, yes, he's putting up these kind of numbers is good. And it's fun to watch what he's doing. So yes, he's definitely a piece. Again, I believe he's another 5'10" piece, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So again, we're at our limit of tiny people.
I mean, how many do you really have?
NASCAR is 5'9".
And who else?
The Beacon of Hope is not much more than 5'10".
And who else? What is your limit?
That's it. I can't have 3 of them. 3's my max.
Why?
Because they can't get the puck away from people. On the cycle down low against bigger teams, they are a problem. I like the way Alex DeBrincat plays. I don't even mind Alex DeBrincat's defense at times. But they start cycling on him, and there's nothing he can do. NASCAR will find out the same thing at the pro level, I would assume. You can't have much of it. It is a hole. So 3's our limit. So that's the whole thing. I don't care. I mean, we need anyone who can put the puck in the net. And how big is Lardass? Look at that.
Keep talking.
Okay. So it's not.
I mean, this is you assuming that we keep NASCAR.
Yes. Right. I mean, they're all tradable. They're all pieces. And
Lardass is 5'11".
All right, then he's huge. So we're okay. Yeah, it's not like they won't have value. They're going to have value. It's just you can't have a lot of it because there is that hole, and especially come playoff time. If you're anchoring each line around a 5'9" guy, I'm going to tell you right now, it will not work. It just won't. So, but let's see. Again, he looks the part.
I'd still like to see him come over because, and honestly, if the dynasty taught me anything, I'm not going to assume that their big pieces now doesn't mean that they're actually, here in a couple of years. I feel like at a point, there's not anyone aside from like Beacon of Hope and maybe some of like the defensive prospects that, seem to like not have another duplicate in the pipeline that plays their exact same game sort of thing. I mean, I think everyone's going to be expendable to Kyle.
As it should be. Yeah, I mean, it will be. Again, we want him over here just because he looks like an exciting player. He's very skilled offensively. We don't have any of that. So I'll take some of that. Yes.
Well, and what if I believe he's playing center now. what's the harm if you throw him at the wing? Does that change it for you in terms of his size? Is 3
Well,
still?
I just think you have to be big down the middle. If the Hawks aren't, if the Beacon of Hope stays at center,
right?
Then yeah, but there's no problem moving him to the wing.
Right. No, I'm saying like I know you're like I don't want like every guy that's running point essentially to be 5'9" or under. Well, what if it's a, Beacon of Hope is your top center, hypothetically NASCAR is your second line center, and Canceroff is your second line right wing. Hypothetically,
I think that can work. I don't think that it's anything that would be solid. Again, you would then throw a Doc on there.
Right.
You have a big body. I just don't know if the two of them together would click. Again, if they're fast enough, it all depends on the defense. What I'm hearing about NASCAR is he's playing good D. I just need to know that he can do that up at this level against Mark Sheffley. That's the problem. You have to come in and just in the Central Division and deal with horses at center.
Yeah.
So, they can play together. Again, we're so bad. That is definitely, put it out there that you can't have that, but we can have that for a while. I'm good. We have to get better.
Right.
So, right on with it.
Yeah. Just an interesting one because we don't really talk about him a ton, but I think he's definitely an interesting piece, and certainly a piece that isn't like our NCAA or CHL ones where it's kind of like we're just because we have more information on them, we're like, yep, right here.
Yeah, and ideally he's one that once he's out of his contract, you're hoping can slip right into the NHL.
Yeah.
He's already playing against men. So that's the hope.
Yeah.
Wow, a lot of time on the Russian.
It's all right. This one's going to be a long one anyway. For some of our other prospects, starting with our favorite, we've got Oliver Moore with 4 assists this weekend. Sam Renzel with 3 assists and 1 power play goal. Also, favorite part about this weekend for University of Minnesota is they shut out Michigan this weekend, and you got a little fun video of Sam Renzel taking his stick and using it like a broom going towards the Michigan bench. I appreciate the personality. I'm a big fan of it. I like the attitude.
Yes, and that will be the gift once all these kids hopefully get up here. They seem to have some swagger, and if we could be decent again, I'd love to see the swagger. There's nothing better. There's nothing better in the game than to see him doing his stuff, Savoie doing his stuff.
Oh my God, did you see the video that Rockford put out, though?
I did not see it.
It's a whole video of just Savoie.
But once we get our interns, you'll be able to just throw it up there in a corner over here. So, okay.
Anyway.
Is there anybody watching this?
We have one person. I believe it's Eva. For Sasha Boisvert, we've got 2 assists and 1 goal. Dominic James with 2 goals this weekend. Adam Guyon has not been in net for the past couple of weeks for University of Minnesota Duluth. That's fine. I'm just mentioning it now because we really haven't talked about him. But that's because he hasn't played. But he is a freshman, and it's completely fine. He is in the same position as Artie, essentially, where every year he essentially plays in the next league up. This is his first couple of years over here, so he's fine. I just wanted to bring him up because we hadn't talked about him in a month. For John Mustard with Providence College, we have 1 goal and 3 assists. Tage Harding with Providence College, 4 assists. We've got 1 goal by Jack Pridham for the Kitchener Rangers, 2 goals and 1 assist for Put a Spell on You, 2 goals and 1 assist for Alex Frond out of the Sudbury Wolves. Martin Misiak with 1 goal and 3 assists for Erie Otters. Back from injury, we have Merrick Van Acker with 1 goal and 2 assists. Nick Lardis with 1 goal and 1 assist. I would like to remind everybody that if Nick Lardis's points go a little bit down these first couple of weeks, that's fine. Merrick Van Acker was out for quite a bit, so he was pretty much the number 1 goal scorer on the team. But now the number 2 goal scorer is back on the team, and so they're kind of just going to split it a little bit. And I knew that because this past weekend, if you look at the breakdown of all of the goals, if Lardis was scoring, Van Acker was on the assist. If Van Acker was scoring, Lardis was on the assist. So I would imagine that if they don't play on the same line consistently, they're at least somewhat consistent line mates, or at least it's shuffled enough during the game. Christy, you got anything on prospects? Aside from cancer off?
Come on, that's not my job.
I know, but sometimes you have thoughts and feelings.
Yeah, sometimes I have thoughts and feelings. No, I really got nothing. You know, they're so far away. As we've said, Moore took a little bit of a dip. That's a good program. Nothing to worry about.
Yeah. All right. Let's get into Rockford. They were on an East Coast tour, like the Blackhawks are right now. I'm sorry, I'm just finding my notes from the first game. Yes.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
What exceptional things have been done down in Rockford? Because they're a team that's barely been over 500 for the last 3 years, right? And has been bounced out of the first round of the playoffs every year, right?
Yes.
So if somebody tells me there's exceptional things happening and this is an exceptional team, how's that possible? I want to know how. You're a 5th place team. Maybe that's part of the problem. If we think 5th place is exceptional. Sorry. I wasn't letting that one off the hook, though.
Oh, no. I figured once I sent that one to you, you were going to make a comment.
I don't quite get it.
All right. Anyway, back to the point. We've got Rockford to talk about. They've played a lot of games. They've won some games. They've lost some games. First game, Rockford versus Lehigh Valley. Very strong start. Pairing-wise, with the kiddos on the defensive end, you got Ethan DeMastro playing with Korchinski, and then Isaac Phillips playing with Artie. Colton Dock, NASCAR, and Landon Slaggert is a line that should be just run consistently in every Rockford game until the end of the season. No call-ups, no nothing. Run that line. That line is electric for Rockford.
Which
they had
line?
That for 2 shifts, and then Mark Eaton completely changed it.
Which line?
Colton Dock, NASCAR,
and Slaggert. Okay.
It works. It works absolutely great. They're able to find each other. I think Doc and Slaggert do a great job of taking some of the physicality responsibility off of NASCAR, because you see them more so in the boards than NASCAR getting into the nitty-gritty corners. It's a great line. Also in Rockford news, we have a new head coach. We don't have Anders Sorensen anymore because he's up at the big kid level. And now we have Mark Eaton with his first coaching job. Let's continue. Yeah, the NASCAR line was absolutely great. A nice try to fight by Isaac Phillips. Got a little nitty gritty with one of the Lehigh Valley players. An awkward give up by Weeks. Nice break. Gut punch looked absolutely great. He's looked great this entire weekend. Very happy that he is down there. And Korchinski looks, dare I say, good. Been very impressed with the performance that he's had down in Rockford. I think he looks significantly more comfortable just on ice compared to this time last year. Granted, AHL versus NHL is very different. I don't care. I'm just excited to see the kid more comfortable because we were forced to watch him be so uncomfortable last year. So happy to see this for him.
And yeah, it's not that huge of a difference, especially when you think about what Core needs to work on. Core needs to work on in his own zone. And they're not all that great. Yes, the NHL's better, but it's the same kind of game down at the AHL level, and there's big bodies and everything. So, for what he needs to work on, it's a good workout down there.
Yeah.
So.
But yeah, good game. A lot of guys scored. But to be honest, Lehigh Valley just really isn't good. Next game, we've got Rockford versus Hartford. This is Mark Eaton's first official game as the head coach. And yes, Matt Rempe was in the lineup for Hartford. I don't know what the Ranger people are feeding the Hartford guys, but they're all friggin' giants. We got shut out by Hartford. They switched it a little bit in terms of that top line. They were running Doc, NASCAR, and Mayhew, which is the other one that they've been doing. Just keep Slaggert on the friggin' right wing of NASCAR, and it works. I don't know why we have to keep flip-flopping. And there's also no harm with putting Mayhew down with Gut Punch, because Gut Punch is running your second line. If you do that, then you just have a veteran second line, and it's fine. Once again, we've got Artie with Phillips, EDM with Core. Let's see. Oh, yeah, this poses the really big question, Krusty. Where in the world is Paul Ludwinski? He's been scratched on and off the past couple of games. They brought Jalen Lupin up from the Indy Fuel. There wasn't any injury or any major call-up from the big kid level that would leave a hole for Jalen to be brought up to Rockford. So I'm a little confused. Ludwinski is playing tonight because the Ice Hogs are playing currently right now. He's currently floated to the wing of Lupin, which, fine, I'm just happy to see the guy on the roster. But what's happening with our friend Paul?
Well, his nickname is Hide and Seek and Paul, so I guess he's been hiding. I do not know. I guess that's a question we can attempt to put out to people in Rockford. I don't know how we contact on X, Y, or Z or Butterfly the Rockford people, but I would like an answer a little bit. But yeah, he's been scratched at least 5 times, so obviously there's something they don't like in his game, period. And I thought Lupin went down to Indy and now came back up and has taken Paul's minutes, so that can't be good.
Well, he's not exactly taking Paul's minutes, because right now, because Paul essentially was starting off on the third line. And I get moving Sanford up with the kids, because honestly, as much as I do love Savoie, Ludwinski, and Hayes, I think it does benefit Savoie and Hayes to have a little bit of veteran presence with how aggressive they play. I don't think it harms them by any means. So I understand keeping Sanford up with the two of them, especially also because Savoie and Sanford seem to really bounce off each other well. But he's on the fourth line, and now he's being flirted over to the wing.
Yeah, I got nothing for you. He's never looked awful when I've seen him.
Yeah.
But hey, I'll take them. I'll trust them over me, I guess. Yeah. I don't like my guy getting scratched, though.
Yeah, no, some BS.
What can you do?
I don't know if Savoie's gotten scratched yet.
I'm sure he hasn't.
They just really like his game down there. He's a hoot.
Well, yes. He sprinkles all infield.
Yeah. Some pretty just ugly rebounds that Drew struggles to hold on to. They fall to Hartford 4-0. Third goal for Hartford. It was just a very awkward exit. A little bit of a turnover by the EDM. I'm pretty sure he wants that one back. So not the best look for them. We've got Rockford versus Springfield, losing overtime. Weeks is in net. Great game by the Gut Punch. Absolutely fantastic game by the Gut Punch while he was on the ice. Almost a fantastic highlight reel. It's going to be a highlight reel for the friggin' Springfield's goaltender. But Savoie comes with the backhand that he got last week, same sort of thing. Almost makes it. It was quite beautiful. Looked fine. Honestly, looked pretty tired, which they have been on. They were, at that point, they'd been on the road for over a week. It's not a complete excuse, but it's definitely, they just looked really tired, honestly. You got Delabar Dvorsky with the overtime goal. I hate to say it, but it was a pretty good overtime goal. Just not bad, but not great. Like I said, at the end of the third, they just looked so gosh darn exhausted.
Okay, well, you're fitting in well with, you could go now for the Blackhawks front office. That's a lot of good excuses. Would you like to throw out some more excuses as to why this team is now 2 games below 500?
Because we're not good.
Well,
I never claimed to be good.
You've got a lot of your prospects that you're counting on that team.
Yeah.
Who are learning to lose. That's not good. I don't have that much of a problem with it, except when I hear from the Blackhawks front office that there's remarkable things happening in Rockford.
Exceptional.
They're 8-10. There's nothing exceptional about it. Okay? They're a little better than the big club. That's it. At some point in time, we have to start going, I need more. Or is our game plan going to be forever that we're going to baby everybody?
Well,
these people are all getting paid to play hockey now. The babying has to end at some point in time. Or maybe this is the way we do things now.
Well, I think it is. If you look at who's on top of the pyramid, I think babying's kind of the way to go.
Yes. You mean Danny Dreadlock with his gym shoes?
Well, I was mainly bashing on Kyle, but sure.
Whatever. Again, I'm figuring at some point in time they gel. It would be
I think
nice.
There are pieces that are gelling. I don't want it to yes, they're 8-10. That's not an excuse. They're learning to lose. Yes, all of the crusty old guy things. There are pieces that are gelling. You see Core improving. You see Artie improving. You see EDM just looking fantastic, aside from the turnover in the Springfield game. You see NASCAR NASCAR is a hell of a lot better now than he was even 6 months ago. You see things improving. Yes, there are flaws, but it's not like nothing's happening in Rockford. I just don't know that they have significantly enough pieces to start saying things that they are exceptional. So many great things are happening. Barely anything is happening. I don't want it to say nothing is happening, but this is the bare minimum.
Right. Because I expect improvement from prospects. That's the baseline.
Yeah.
So, again, I think I'm just being more crabby about the whole thing of I don't like it when the front office plays down to the fan base as to what the fan base doesn't know what's going on. But then I've talked to a good amount of the fan base and they really don't know what's going on. So maybe they should tune into this show.
Yeah. All right. You want to talk about the big club?
Sure. I'd love to talk about the big club. Obviously, Kyle Davidson turns into this show. And after our little rant last week, he decided to do something.
Did something. Luke Richardson was fired, and Anders Sorensen is the new head coach of the Chicago Blackhawks. This is nothing against Sorensen. I wish him well. I hope that he is the missing piece that turns this shit show around. I don't think it is, but I want to just make it very clear that I have no issue with Sorensen. I'm not going to go into this having beef with him as a human. However, I think this was a cop-out.
You sound like Kyle. But with that being said...
However, I do think this is a giant cop-out and the coward's choice on Kyle Davidson's behalf. I think firing the coach without, trying to trade pieces away first is a cop-out. That way, if it's fixed, you're like, well, this is, this was the thing that needed to happen. It's all a part of the plan. This was the thing that needed to go. And if it doesn't work, you can just spin it as, well, he's just the interim. This wasn't expected. We're doing the search for the next head coach. He's just the interim guy. It's fine. We have time in this magical plan that I have. He has the ability to spin it either way on the delusional train that he's driving.
He hired a guy. That was the first time he's ever been on the NHL ice. He's never played in the NHL. He's never coached at any level in the NHL. And now he's got an NHL head coaching job of an Original Six franchise. For those in certain kind of crazy worlds, we call that rock bottom. And you thought rock bottom was earlier. Nope.
I want nothing more than for this man to succeed. Not for Kyle Davidson to be correct, but I just want him to succeed. To just piss off every meathead and you in the process.
Me? Piss me off?
I love that for him. And yes, this is a man who, coached his first NHL game on Saturday and managed. It
was the first time he was on the NHL ice.
And managed to beat the New York Rangers.
Was that his first game or his second game?
That was his second game.
Okay.
No, so he had his first game on Saturday. And then he was able to go out and coach to beat the Rangers, which really tells you the dumpster fire that the New York Rangers are at this point.
Yes, I'm thinking maybe he's got some witch things going on. Because the amount that the Rangers missed the net by 5 feet on 3-on-2s and 2-on-1s was pretty pathetic. With all of that being said, where do you want to start with the big club? Do you have a eulogy for Luke?
Luke, you got done dirty.
You knew you were going to get done dirty.
I really feel bad that you had to listen to Kyle Davidson talk and Danny Wirtz talk that much and you still got fired. I hope that you're the next head coach for Nashville or a different team and that you're employed quickly after this shit show. It wasn't on you. This is Kyle's fault, and I wish you well.
Okay. Can we be on record as stating this was a fail?
Yeah.
So his first big coaching maneuver was a fail. Failed miserably. This is a wasted year. Yes, go Hockey Princess.
Since you like to point out that Anders Sorensen has not stepped foot on NHL ice, has not...
Never.
I know. Let me finish.
Okay.
You had a guy who had the experience, who has had assistant coaching positions in the NHL, has played in the NHL, has had all of these things, and you fire it. So why not go the complete opposite route? If we're going to be that bad, why not pull something out of left field? And also, this was a knee-jerk reaction, so it's not like he was going to be able to pick a different person. You know, he even said to the media that he wasn't going to put Derek King back in the interim position because he doesn't want his career to be known as the interim guy.
And why is Derek King still here?
Nepotism. Or not nepotism.
Okay. It would have been nice to hire somebody with NHL head coach experience. It would have been better. That was Luke's first job as a head coach. Would have been nice to have somebody who's been around the block a couple of times.
Do you think it would have actually made a difference?
I think it could have. I would have loved a Bruce Boudreau. I would have been entertained with him all year. It would have been really neat. It brings us back to one point about Kyle Davidson. He doesn't want anybody who, number one, thinks that they're smarter than him.
Or smart in general.
Has a better pedigree than him. Or would question anything he does. Now, even a Bruce Boudreau is going to question things. Probably in a real funny way, and it would be hilarious. And he'd probably do the little turtle thing and be, oh, God, I'd laugh. But that's all this is. This is another yes man. Can't believe I actually have a job. Whatever you say, Kyle, at some point in time, that needs to end. And it better end next year with the new coach.
Wasn't Luke also a yes man?
Yes, he was. Right. So that's two yes men in a row. I'd like to know.
The head coach position in itself, kind of just a yes man to Kyle.
No, it doesn't have to be.
But that is the bold assumption that we expect Kyle Davidson to change.
He's going to need to. Or, no, he doesn't have to do anything. You're right. Past practice would show me, and all of my teaching points in life to you, which, has just ended me up in the garage. But, we got, look at that. Oh, yeah.
Look at that.
You got a car that's covered. Yeah, I whether it'll work or not, we saw glimpses of his new style against the Rangers, which means buckle up because you're going to start seeing a lot of those 2-on-1s again and 3-on-2s going back the other way. He's decided he wants them to be more aggressive. And once they're more aggressive, you saw it in the Ranger game. Going to be a lot of odd man rushes going the other way. So, again, my only other point is, I'm told, this is the system he's kind of running in Rockford. I was told when all this started, we're all running the same system.
No.
That's what I was told by Kyle. Kyle said he wanted it seamless. So you knew the exact system when you came up from Rockford. So Kyle Davidson lied about that also. Yeah. Again, I'm all for it. The fan base that's left, you've got so many people that are still so angry that they can't watch this game.
Me, I couldn't watch the New York game.
They're tired of the team playing constantly safe. I'm curious how tired they are when they start losing 5-2 now, because the Ranger game was supposed to cure everything. They still scored just 2 goals. And they easily could have given up 6. So I understand against that guy, it's real difficult to score. So I'll give him a pass. And we'll see where the rest of it goes. You mentioned Korchinski. Definitely quicker decision-making. He's not hesitating. He's not just automatically running the puck to wherever it needs to go. He was still
see the progression.
I can see the progression. He still struggles in his own zone.
Yeah.
You still need to understand I was told it was an unbelievable game by Korchinski. But yet Korchinski wasn't on the ice very much those last 6 minutes. I figured if somebody's playing unbelievable.
I don't know if you throw Korchinski on for the last 6 minutes if you're only up by 1.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If this guy's unbelievable, shouldn't he be out there when you're protecting a lead?
No.
Why not?
You have, say you're Pittsburgh, you only up by 1. Are you throwing Erik Karlsson out there? No.
That's what I'm getting at.
Kevin
so he's still got a long way to go. Unbelievable.
It is the same pipeline.
Unbelievable is a little too much.
Yeah.
He had a very good game. I liked it, and there was parts I didn't like. He still has work to do. I don't know if he'll ever get there as far as NHL D-wise. But everybody has all of a sudden salivated and said he is completely fixed and he's ready. So
no one's ready. No one's ready.
Again, I'm almost at the point, as I said, I would like NASCAR to stay down. I'd like Korchinski. I'm almost at the point, just bring them all up. At least it'll be something else to watch.
Did you see the earlier this week where everybody was claiming that NASCAR got brought up and Scott Powers tweeted, everyone, you need to check your sources?
Yes.
That was quite funny.
I'm still hearing that he might come for tomorrow's game. Or is that completely off base?
I don't think anything's off base at this point. Yeah.
So, ooh. You want to go through each game?
We only have 2, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because I have some Winnipeg notes because I was there and I took notes.
Good job.
Chicago versus Winnipeg, you got Peter Mrazek until he gets hurt, and then Soderblom steps in. Mrazek's on IR right now, pulled groin. So, yeah, I told Krusty that, and he says, we're not going to win this month. And then we won the next game. So what does Krusty know?
Krusty's an idiot.
Exactly. This was Anders Sorensen's first game as an NHL head coach. Already liked the guy because he put my boy Kurashev on the top line. And after Luke consistently scratching him for who knows what man PMS reason, I'm happy to see him on the top line. Nice power play goal you got from Alex Vlasic with the assists of Tavo and Connor. Also, you had Tyler Bertuzzi and Donato on the ice for your power play. The power play looked less slow. It still looks slow. It still looks really slow. Especially
there's a lot more movement though.
But there's more. There is more movement. It's still slow, but we're doing things. We're picking up our feet, going left foot, right foot a little bit more.
Yeah, no, I am starting to like the movement out there. So the power play is making strides. The beacon of hope is getting it a little bit. He's got to move. The power play is going to go through him.
Yeah.
But if he stands there with the puck like 88 used to do at times, the power play comes to a screeching halt.
Yeah.
Even when Kane was on it, it would, just because of that.
Second goal for Chicago, Alec Martinez, who I also thought had a great game before he exited the game, with your assist by Mickey Mouse and Jason Dickinson. For the second Winnipeg goal, it was a really, really long shift for everybody. It's not an excuse. That's just a fact. They were out there for a significant period of time before that second Winnipeg goal. Kaiser looks unbelievably lost. I know I kind of keep going back to him every week, but he just looks so lost. I don't get it. And he looks completely lost on that second Winnipeg goal. Third Winnipeg goal, I have, where in the world are the effing defensemen? Could not be found. Could not be found anywhere. Overall notes, still preaching me. I don't understand the blind favoritism between Kaiser and consistently scratching or sending Isaac Phillips down to Rockford. I thought Alex Vlasic looked absolutely incredible. I really liked Nolan Allen's game. There were a lot of things post the Winnipeg game about how, kind of bashing on Kurashev and Tavo, and they are not the answer when it comes to needing guys to help out 98. This is what Katie has kind of forced them to be in that position, but they are not that type of player. Like we've talked about the past couple of times, when Tavo was on Carolina, he was a third line player. That's also because Carolina is ungodly stacked. But Teuvo Teravainen is not the Teuvo Teravainen from 2015. Philip Kurashev is a great hockey player, but him paired with Connor Bedard are still two smaller guys that physicality is one of their weaknesses, just as hockey players. They are not the answer for Connor. You either have to go get that or draft that and pray a lot. And it's not a diss to them because I like both of them a lot. I think Kyle bringing them here, it's kind of given that expectation of, oh, this is it. This is the answer. Tavo's going to be the answer for Connor. He's not. And that's not a knock on Tavo. That's not a knock on Connor. That's just not who he is or who he was going to be. Katie kind of just simply assumed incorrectly and put players in the wrong spots or signed guys for the wrong spots that they need. Martinez had a good game before the injury. Slightly more aggressive, but still cannot play 60 minutes of hockey. That's my last final note for the Winnipeg game.
Yeah, my only problem with the Winnipeg game is your brand new NHL coach decided that he was going to go along with the lines that Winnipeg was putting up against us. So that meant the Beacon of Hope was going up against Adam Lowry, their shutdown stud. Little note for Sorensen: when you are at home, you've got to get away from people like that. Your objective is to get the Beacon of Hope away from that. Not go, okay, see what you can do. He's going to get eaten alive. Okay? So he's got to do better with that. I'm sure he will.
Yeah.
So I'm sure he was just trying to hold on for dear life. So that's about all I've got on the Winnipeg game. Our usual offense came from two defensemen.
Per usual.
And while we're on the subject of that, I will say again, as far as Team USA is concerned, yes, Hockey Princess.
As of right now, Ice Hogs are down by 4. Weeks got pulled, and Gaudreau is starting for the third period.
I think the plan is working. That's an exceptional team down there.
They're doing exceptional things.
Exceptional things, yes.
Somebody did give me highlights of Sam Savoie beating a guy into the boards a couple of times, so I will have to watch that after recording.
Yeah, as I said, for me, it's time to start winning.
We don't know how.
Unless we just, I need somebody to not accept losing. Can't accept it anymore. Not down in Rockford. I understand up here, but not down in Rockford. But getting back to Team USA, I understand Brock Faber is like the new golden boy for USA hockey. But if you want to beat Canada or any of the other two, you're much better with Alex Vlasic on that team than Brock Faber. Because Alex Vlasic can play twice as good a D. I think that is a phenomenal mistake on their part. He is an incredible shutdown defenseman. To not have him on that team is silly.
But it's okay because we're not cheering for USA because they snubbed Patrick Kane. Let's go Finland all the way.
That's you. I'm USA every day.
Every day. There's Tavo on Team Finland, so obviously.
USA.
No. I'll give you my jersey for it. No, go Finland.
I have a USA jersey.
I do.
I got an OC jersey.
Anyway, what are your any other thoughts on the big club?
Well, we've got the Ranger game.
Yeah.
This was the coming out. Everything is fixed now. It couldn't be running any better. That's sarcasm. Again, we went over core. Looked good. Can I get that kind of game from Bert every game from now on? I screamed and yelled about him, Hall, and Tavo last week. Bert and Hall played a great game. Just a phenomenal game. Bert's game was everything that I want. He's not just stick checking. He's throwing his whole body into it. He was all over the frigging place. I need that every game. He's getting paid to do that every game. And on this team, I got to have that from him. It makes a huge difference. And I got to have the Taylor Hall guy that's going, I want to go to a contender. I am showcasing my abilities. Both of them played a and Bloom looked great. It did help that the Rangers struggled to find the net. A lot. But he still looked good. So we'll see how that goes. As I said, I'm a little worried with this new style that things are going to get real rough as far as on-man breaks the other way, but we'll see.
We don't know.
I guess I got nothing else on the big club.
All right.
Do we have any questions from anybody in the chat?
No questions.
All right.
Just rambles. All right. You got anything else?
Good. We were able to do a live podcast with no glitches.
I know. What a time. All right.
What a time. I would assume, I'll let you feel this will definitely be my last cigar of the year. Oops. Unless I'm in warmer conditions.
Which you probably won't be.
I will be. Mm-hmm. I've got cruises coming up. I've got these places, that places. Oh, yeah.
Wild. All right, then. And on that note, make sure to hit that like and subscribe on either Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and Amazon Music, however you watch or listen to us ramble on a weekly basis. If you're going to a game this season, please wait for the whistle. Do not get up while the puck's in play. If you want some really good food that's not too far from the United Center, Su Taqueria El Rey del Taco over on Ogden. Great food. Lovely people. Yes, Krusty?
Plug the Roanoke game.
December 19th, we will be honoring, or the Blackhawks will be honoring, probably we will more than the Blackhawks. Jeremy Roenick will be there. They're honoring his Hockey Hall of Fame induction. They are doing an interview with him prior to the game. I believe it's about 5:45 start time in the UC Atrium. And then I imagine he'll pull the horn thing.
Oh, he's pulling the horn. I can only, nobody will pull the horn like Roenick can.
It is an honoring of Jeremy Roenick. Also, while we're plugging the Seattle Kraken game, you talk about that this is the first time that Coach Campbell will be at the United Center. I'm very excited to see her. Should be a really fun game.
I got one more tidbit of news.
Yeah.
For those of you who will be unable to watch the Winter Classic, but decide you want to listen to it, the man who will be doing the Winter Classic game is Pat Foley.
Yes.
So, something to think about, but it'll be great to get some sound bites from him again.
Oh, absolutely.
All right, I've derailed you enough. I'm sorry.
All right, that is all, and we will talk at you guys next week.